Hello everyone, I hope you're well. It's really good to meet with you again. Today I'd like to talk to you about kindness. Now I'm sure that everyone you meet will tell you the same thing, that it's really important and really good to be kind. I can't imagine anyone saying don't be kind. And especially at this time we're encouraged to be kind to each other, aren't we? And I certainly and my family have been blessed through kindnesses, and just without even thinking. This week we've received a cake for our family made by someone really kind, a friend of ours. Recently received little gift bags with some sweets in it and other goodies, and also had a basket of sunshine delivered to our door, and everything inside that basket was the colour yellow, which just brought an amazing smile to our faces. And we've had cards of encouragement, and I could go on and think of lots of other things. I hope you can think of similar things too. And I hope that I've been equally kind to others. But that's for me to think about, isn't it, and try harder over. So I'm going to talk to you today about some characters in the Bible and one act of kindness particularly that's really important to mention. I'm going to try and show you through an experiment. If you want to do the experiment with me, you'll need to find 4 things, but 5 if you want to add your Bible to that list. So in a minute, when I've shown you that, you might want to pause the video and go off and find those, and then you can join me with it. The first of those things is some water. I've just got mine in a vase. Next, you'll need some common and garden table salt. You'll need quite a lot for this experiment, so you check with somebody at home first if that's okay to use it, okay? You'll need a fresh egg, so again, please be careful with that and make sure you've got an adult with you. Don't want to break that, so not one that's been hard-boiled or anything. A spoon to help that into the vase, and then the 5th thing I've got is my Bible. Okay, so if we're ready, let's start. Now, involved in this story, we need to go back a little bit and see the connections between people. And Saul was king, okay, and he had a son called Jonathan. And Jonathan was best friends with David. Now, I've sat them together in my little picture here. Not because they're brothers, they were best friends, but they were as if they were brothers. They loved each other so much. And during Saul's reign, David, even though he was young and a little shepherd boy, he was chosen by God to become a future king. And he was anointed, and that meant that he had special oil put on his head, so he's marked out by God for something very special. Now, David family weren't very happy with him. His brothers, who were older than him, obviously expected that to be them when Samuel was choosing someone in this way. But they chose David because God could see inside to David's heart, which was really good. Saul, of course, wasn't happy with this either. Just like David's brothers, he was jealous. He didn't want anyone else thinking that they were as powerful as he was and would become king. So Saul tried really hard to kill David. Not just to hurt him, he wanted him killed. Now this obviously troubled David, but it troubled Jonathan just as much. Jonathan would have been really embarrassed that his dad was treating David in this way. And he helped his friend. Because Saul would attack David with spears, with arrows, would chase him into caves. He hunted him down. It was really, really something else. He didn't just dislike David, he hated him for what God had promised in his life. And actually it ends up, and Jonathan and David were separated, but Jonathan helped David to escape for his safety, really. So now we move to just one verse I'm going to read from the Bible, and if you're joining me with this, you'll find it in 2 Samuel 9, and it's verse 1, and it says these words. One day, David asked, "Is anyone in Saul's family still alive? Anyone to whom I can show kindness for Jonathan's sake?" So now he was king, and he remembered how kind Jonathan had been to him, and he wanted to repay that. And actually, Jonathan wasn't alive, and none of his sons were alive either, apart from one. And King David had this pointed out to him, and he was told there was one of Jonathan's sons left, and his name, and I'm not going to say this too many times during this video, was Mephibosheth. Okay? And so David invited him to the palace because he wanted to show him kindness. He wanted to give him lovely things to eat and to wear, and he wanted to repay the kindness that Jonathan had shown him. But as you would expect, Mephibosheth, I told you we would struggle with it, he was a little bit worried about going to the palace, as you would expect. He wasn't sure that David was going to be kind to him. He thought maybe he wanted to hurt him because of the way his grandfather Saul had treated him. But no, David wasn't like that. David was kind, and he did persuade Mephibosheth to come to the palace. I'm having trouble with that name, aren't I? But it took a long time. And can you see Jonathan's son, that's what I'm going to call him from now on, needed some persuasion. He was swamped in all of this meanness and unkindness and nastiness that his grandfather Saul had shown to David. But you know, the way to deal with that, David realised, was with kindness. He wanted to show kindness to Jonathan's son because Jonathan had been so kind to him. So we're just going to imagine this is a box of kindness now. We know it's salt for the purpose of an experiment, but we're going to pour in kindness and show kindness to Jonathan's son. I'm going to mix it up a little bit because it's a little bit cloudy, isn't it? Let's just see if we can see it. It's going to take quite a lot of this. But for those scientists among us, this is changing the density of the water. And so this is what happens. You could pour in kindness, kindness, kindness. And can you see what's happening through the cloudiness? Oh, not quite yet. It started to happen. I'm going to keep going, keep going, keep going. And it does take a lot of this. Can you see that after all of the kindness that David was showering on Jonathan's son, can you see? It rose Jonathan's son up, and all the kindness was rewarded. And so he realised that he wasn't being punished for the way that his grandfather Saul had treated David. David had forgiven because he loved Jonathan so much. So I'm going to give it another big, you can just about then see Jonathan's son peeping out at the surface. Can you see? And that's what kindness can do. You need to pour kindness on people, pour gentleness on people, pour kind words, kind deeds, and you will show them God's love reflected like that. Okay? If you want to find that story for yourself, look into Samuel chapter 9 and read it. And thank you for listening, and be kind this week, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.